and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, presents his condolences to the families of the victims of the Taraf and Serif provinces fires, wishing a speedy recovery to the injured. Efforts are underway to extinguish fires in several provinces of the country, and the Interior Minister reiterates the state's readiness to accomplish this mission and side with the affected population. The emergency humanitarian aid arrived to Senegal pursuant to the instructions of the President of the Republic following the floods which occurred in some regions of the country. The responsible statements made by the President of the International Union of Muslim Ulamas or Clerics, Ahmed Raisuni, are still sparking condemnation. Good evening, those were today's top stories. First, and following the forest fires which broke out in the east of the country, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, presented his condolences to the families of the victims of the Taraf and Serif provinces fires, wishing a speedy recovery to the injured and assuring the mobilization of the state's concerned authorities, including all material and human means, in order to fight the fires and take proper care of the injured. Strenuous efforts are being made to extinguish the fires which hit several provinces of the country. 26 people are reported dead, yet the general situation is under control to avoid further human and material damage thanks to the state's swift intervention. More details with Sabrin Tafarganit.
26 people are reported dead by the wildfires which hit several provinces of the country, notably Taraf, Soqahra, Sétif and Jijur provinces, according to the Interior Minister, who displayed, by the way, the material damage caused by these fires which broke out for different reasons, like high temperature and strong winds. Here in the village of Al-Malha in the municipality of Al-Qala, one of the 16 points that witnessed the raging wildfires in Al-Taraf province, civil defense elements, forest services and the authorities, including the province governor, are taking stock of the situation to assess the damage and help the victimized population. The same atmosphere as well in Soqahra and Sétif provinces, where strenuous efforts are being made to keep the situation under control. All human and material means have been deployed, including fire planes, which broke down days ago. Special crisis units have set up. Many families have evacuated, 30 of them in Sétif province. The Interior Minister Kamal Beljoud reiterated the state's readiness and full mobilization to fully extinguish these wildfires and to bring help and assistance to the hit families, while paying a vibrant tribute to citizens who perished during these devastating fires, which require more efforts to contain this catastrophe.
The Interior Minister Kamal Beljoud, who was the special guest of our previous bulletin, affirmed that the public authorities will spare no effort to fully extinguish the fires and take care of the affected population, calling them to be more vigilant. Let's have a listen.
I call on the Algerian citizens to be more vigilant, to stick to the local authorities' guidelines, to inform about any fire and to evacuate the area in the event of any wildfire. The state is ready to mobilize all means to back the affected population, which is called upon to cooperate more and facilitate the firefighters' mission to put an end to these devastating fires.
In other news, the emergency humanitarian aid sent to Senegal arrived on Wednesday, pursuant to the instructions of the President of the Republic, following the floods which occurred in some Senegalese regions. The Algerian Red Crescent, backed by the Ministry of National Defense, sent 80 tons of medicines, bedding and foodstuffs on board of 3 planes which took off from the Boufarik Air Base in the 1st Military Region. The Minister of Communication, Mohamed Bouslimani, paid a working and inspection visit to the Algerian TV Broadcasting Center here in Algiers, where he announced the launch of a new media city. Story by Sabrine Tefergenit.
Here is where Media City project will be launched. In a working and inspection visit to the Algerian TV Broadcasting Center of Bouchaoui, the Minister of Communication stressed that it's by excellence the media hub that will permit to be in tune with the new technologies of information and communication. We have 47 hectares and we intend to acquire 25 more for the achievement of media projects that will include radio, television and broadcasting. This project aims to ensure complementarity between the different establishments in the field of broadcasting and production in Media City studios. The TV Broadcasting Center will be equipped with a ground station destined for private TV channels to be submitted to the Algerian law. It should be known that the majority of private TV channels are served by TDA. The next step is to endow this center with a ground station. The process is due to be over next February, after which those channels will be under Algerian law. It's our goal and priority. Some of the priorities pertains to the elimination of problems relating to TV coverage in grey zones and border regions, and the right for all citizens to receive national radio and TV stations. It was also disclosed that between January and July 2022, those regions were equipped with 23 transponders.
Now back to the Moroccan. Raisoni Ahmed, the president of the International Union of Muslim Ulamas or Clerics, whose statement sparked a strong condemnation in the Muslim world since it called for fitna or discord among the Maghreb countries. More details with Ines Kilo.
Raisoni's tendentious remarks are described as a gross blunder, an unforgivable provocation and a serious mistake. He arrogated to himself the right to speak on behalf of Muslim Scholars Union, which he chairs, and to use it as a tool to distill his venomous ideas against two neighboring countries, Algeria and Mauritania. The body of Mauritanian scholars protested against the unworthy remarks of Raisoni, which sow discord and harm the sovereignty of states. These remarks have aroused the indignation of several other Mauritanian organizations and Sahrawi officials.
الشعب الموريتاني له ضمير ضارب في أعماق التاريخ.
The Mauritanian people, deeply rooted within the Muslim and the Arab community, condemned the statement which goes against the authentic values of the basis of good neighborhood. The Moroccan elite had to initiate an Arab process to close ranks and speed up the Grand Maghreb ratification instead of sowing seeds of discord among people.
الفرقة والتفرقة والفتنة. تصريحات داخل التطبيع في إطار التطبيع وتصريحات.
These allegations meant to boost the normalization process and back the Makhzen regime are destined to the Moroccan people intact.
المخزن في الاتفاقية الإبراهيمية على كل حال، ولكن الحقيقة المستهدف الحقيقي ليس الشعب الصحراوي، ليس الشعب الجزائري، والمستهدف الحقيقي هو المغرب والشعب المغربي.
نقول لك ولهيئتك التي أساءت إلى موريتانيا وأنت أسأت إلى موريتانيا.
We tell you that your body, which humiliated the Muslim nation, and your statement hit Mauritania. I don't call the Arab League to disregard this authority because it was initially set up on groundless basis.
لا تسعى لأن تستنقص من دولة أو تذكر أنها وجودها عدم، بل أنت وجودك خطأ. وجودك خطأ كإمام، وجودك خطأ كرئيس هيئة.
After his serious and unacceptable misconduct, calls to dismiss Raisoni have multiplied, denouncing the animosity, hatred, and allegiance of this individual to the Makhzen regime and his attempts to divert the organization from its objectives in order to exploit it for political purposes. The release of the Moroccan preacher continues to provoke a wave of condemnation and indignation among political parties, organizations, and national personalities, and even within the International Union of Muslim Scholars, which has distanced itself from its president, saying that his hateful words are personal. The Secretary General of the Union, Sheikh Ali Al-Kardaghi, said that the organization doesn't accept any attack against Algeria and Mauritania. He stressed that the Union cherishes brotherly Algeria and its honorable liberation history, and even boosts its position on the Palestinian cause. The Fatwa Commission of the Ministry of Religious Affairs and Waqfs condemned the provocative remarks of the President of the International Union of the Muslim Ulama, or clerics, who tried to ignite the fires of fitna in the region, stressing that he thus endorsed the ideology of extremist terrorist groups. In the same context, the Association of the Algerian Muslim Ulama, or clerics, strongly condemned the hostile remarks of Risoni, who was conspicuous by his silence on the subject of the betrayal of the Palestinian cause by Mohammed VI and the Zionist entity. For its part, the Rahmaniya League of Scientific Zawiyas described Risoni's statement as shocking, stating that the blunder constitutes a clear call to add fuel to fire, considering that he should have focused his efforts on ways to abort the process of normalization with the Zionist entity. The High Council also denounced the controversial remarks of Risoni, stressing that this individual has not learned from the lesson of his predecessor. Several political parties and figures have also attacked Risoni and his irresponsible remarks, adding that the Muslim ulamas or clerics are required to castigate this call for war between two brotherly Muslim countries launched by Risoni, who should resign or be dismissed after losing all his credibility following his heinous move.
In another development, the Moroccan Association for Human Rights expressed its great concern about the daily arbitrary arrests and the human rights situation in Morocco, which keeps on worsening. In a statement taken up by local media outlets, the association demanded the opening of a serious investigation on judicial corruption cases in many regions of the country. It also called for guarantees for the establishment of a free, impartial, and independent justice system. The association also condemned the decision taken by the Moroccan authorities to prevent the peaceful sit-in planned for August 10th, organized by the National Solidarity Committee. Moving on to Palestine, where at least 38 Palestinians were arrested by the Zionist forces in the occupied West Bank. A series of arrests accompanied by attacks on civilian homes and intimidation of women and children, whereas in Nablus, 3 young Palestinians were injured by live ammunition in a refugee camp east of the city. As part of fighting terror and as part of in its mission in its fight against terrorism, and organized crime units of the National People's Army carried out from the 10th until the 16th of August several operations which led to qualitative results reflecting the high professionalism of our armed forces. The details with Ines Kilo.
Within the dynamics of the fight against terrorism, detachments of the National People's Army arrested force support elements for terrorist groups in separate operations across the national territory. As part of the fight against organized crime and in continuity with the intense efforts aimed at countering the drug trafficking scourge in our country, combined detachments of the National People's Army have arrested, in coordination with the various security services at the 2nd and 3rd military regions, 3 drug traffickers and thwarted attempts to introduce quantities of drugs across the borders with Morocco, amounting to 394 kilograms of treated cannabis. Otherwise, detachment of the National People's Army intercepted in Tamnast, Burj Baji Mukhtar, Ingizam, and Janet provinces 248 individuals and seized 20 vehicles, 333 generators, 146 jackhammers, 5 metal detectors, 4.3 tons of raw gold mixture and stones, as well as detonation tools, and equipment used in illicit gold mining operations, while 11 other individuals were apprehended and 5 hunting rifles, 2 automatic pistols, 22 quintals of tobacco, as well as quantities of foodstuffs intended for smuggling amounting to 17 tons were seized in Wirgilal, Wed, Betna, Ain Gizem, Bijaya, Constantine and Biskara provinces. In the same context, the border guards thwarted, in coordination with the services of National Gendarmerie, attempts to smuggle large quantities of fuel amounting to 37,289 liters in Tamnaras, Burj-Beji Mukhtar, Tibissa, Tarif and Suqharas provinces. In addition, Coast Guards thwarted in our national coast illegal immigration attempts and carried out the rescue of 187 individuals aboard craft-built boats, while 117 illegal immigrants across the national territory.
And we wrap up our news with sports. In the Islamic Solidarity Games being held in Konya, Turkey, Algeria snatched 4 more medals. 2 silver and 1 bronze medals were won by the karate athletes, while another bronze medal was won by the ladies judo team, bringing Algeria's total harvest to 29 medals. Congratulations to our athletes and good luck for the remaining competitors. And with this, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for tuning in.